Seventh graders, lesson 7.3 is about solving equations with fractions and decimals in them. Alright, piece of cake. Look at this one. 2/3 times n minus 6 equals 22. Okay? So we've got the same kind of form we had before. We've got a variable term. You've got a number plus -6 here. And a number on the other side. We don't have any like terms to combine, so we can just go right to solving it. First, get rid of the number term. So we're trying to get the variable by itself, right? Get the number term off of this side. So add the opposite to both sides. 22 plus 6 is 28. Now we've got a fraction to deal with. And this is a simple fraction, 2/3. Now, remember what reciprocals are? What's a reciprocal? All right, it's a fraction flipped over. Do you know what the definition is?
Well, it's a fraction, like it's like 2/3, for example. You flip it over, and then if you multiply across, that equals 1.
Right, exactly. It's the number that when you multiply it by another number, it equals 1. And that's what you're looking for here, 1n. We've got 2/3 n. We want to find the value of 1n. So multiply it by its reciprocal. It's the same thing as dividing by the same number, right? It creates a fraction of 1. So multiply 2/3 by 3/2 on both sides. Remember, whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other side. Right, Henry?
Yep.
Okay, follow along. Then, 28 over 1 times 3 over 2. How can we simplify that?
You can divide 28 by 2.
Right. Yeah, we call that factoring out. You can factor out 2 out of 2 once, and 2 out of 28 is 14. Okay? And then multiply 14 times 3, n equals 42. Right? Now, what if we have some fractions that we just want to get rid of altogether? All right? Look at this example. This is how to get rid of fractions in an equation. It's called clearing the fraction. And this one is 2/3 n plus 5 equals 3/11. 2/3 n plus 5 equals 3/11. Now we've got, if we did this the other way, let me change color here. If we did 2/3 n plus 5 equals 3/11, and we started by adding -5 to both sides, then we've got a -5 minus 3/11. And you got a mixed number there, and you got some big fractions to deal with. All right, not too bad of a problem. But if we don't want to work with the fractions, maybe you've got a bunch of fractions you might have to add together, and that's kind of cumbersome. So we can get rid of these fractions altogether and just work with the whole numbers by multiplying both sides of the equation. So we've got our two sides here. Multiply both sides by a common denominator. Now, here's what happens. This is cool. If you multiply this side by a common denominator, look at the two denominators. 3 and 11 is 33, right? So multiply this side by 33 over 1. And multiply this side by 33 over 1. Okay? Now, when we multiply 33 times 2/3, notice that you can reduce this to 1 and 11. Right? 11 times 2 is 22n. That's where this came from. And then go back to the 33, because we have to multiply the 33 times 5 also. You can do that on your calculator. Or just think 30 times 5 is 150. And 3 times 5 is 15, so you might be able to get that in your head also, 165. Then on the other side, we get rid of the fraction, don't we? Because it's 1/3. So that becomes just 9. Now we've got whole numbers. All we have is whole numbers. Because the common denominator, the common multiple of both, gets rid of those fractions. So our new equation, which is a same equation, it's still a balanced equation. We're going to get the same answer as if we use the fractions, but we can just solve it using the whole numbers. Add negative 65 to both sides. 22n equals negative 156. Divide it by 22. It's negative 7 and 1/11. And here's the division on that. Okay? So it's kind of a cool way to get rid of the fractions altogether. Rather than adding and subtracting, finding common denominators for each one, maybe doing that more than once, we just multiply both sides by a common multiple. Okay? Let's try another one. Let's go to your homework. Let's start with number 2. Oh, I'm sorry. No, let's start with number 4. That one says solve the equation. 5/8 c minus 8 equals 12. 5/8 c minus 8 equals 12. Okay. You know what to do? Add 8 to both sides. 5/8 c plus 0 equals 20. Right? So 5/8 c equals 20. Multiply both sides by what in this case?
8/5.
8/5. Good. Cross out the reciprocals. C equals, put 8/5 on this side. Now we got a fraction. We have to multiply fractions by fractions. Reduce 5 and 20 to 4 and 1. And C equals 8 times 4, 32. Right?
Yep.
Okay. How about one more? Let's get rid of the fractions in 1. Let's do number 8. 1/5 y plus 3 equals 2/3. Let's just get rid of these fractions. What's a common multiple that we could multiply by?
15.
So put parentheses around each one and you use 15 over 1. Okay. Now, we can reduce this one to 3 and 1. So that is 3 times 1, which is 3y. Now, when we multiply it by the 3, we have to go back to the 15 to do that. So it's 15 times 3, which is what? 45. Okay? Because the 3 over 1 doesn't, we can't factor anything out or reduce the 15 for this term. Okay? You've got to go back to the original number when you multiply it by the next number. Then on this side, that reduces to 1 and 5. So that is 10. Then we can solve this one in about 10 seconds, right? Add negative 45. Negative 35 equals 3y, right? And divide by 3. And y equals 11 and 2/3. Negative 11 and 2/3, right? Any questions? Do that right. Book has 15.
You'd have to keep it 45.
Yeah. Okay, just checking it. I think the book is wrong.
Book is wrong.
Did anyone see a mistake?
No.
I may have made a mistake.
Because 35 can't equal 15.
Right,
So it'd have to be
But,
45 divided by 3.
right, right.
Yeah, that won't work.
But then you wouldn't be multiplying on the other side. Okay,
And then
good.